My name's Thorne. I'm one of the founding members and currently station manager of Cape Town TV. The channel launched. In fact, if you look at the history of Cape Town TV, it goes back 25 years. So for me, at this particular point in our time, for me, it's about looking back over the history of really the struggle to liberate the airwaves of our new democratic South Africa. And it's about really reflecting where we at and how far we've come, what we've managed to achieve, and then obviously throwing forward to the future and really looking at where the channel's going. So for me, it feels like a very pivotal time for the station. Well, Cape Town TV really started off as, it was initiated by the Arts and Media Access Centre, and we at that stage some of us were involved in all of the processes of lobbying and advocacy around ensuring that community media and community TV in particular were enshrined in broadcasting legislation. So of course at that stage we knew that, that finally it looked like, we weren't sure, that ICASA was going to start issuing community TV licenses. So we got a group of organizations together that were active in community media training and development, including Workers' World Media Productions and Cavet and Bush Radio and Public Eye. And those 5 organizations essentially came forward to form a steering committee. And then from there, over a period of about 2 years, we consulted a very wide range of non-profit organizations to get their buy-in to the idea of launching Cape Town TV. Which we then did. We managed to get a license. In fact, we launched the legal entity in September 2006, and then we applied for a license and we got funding from the MDDA, and we launched the channel in September 2008. So September's always been an interesting, month for us at CTV. It's a month of new beginnings in terms of our constitution, our founding, our launching, and of course now our brand unveiling. I often use the analogy of the game Snakes and Ladders when it comes to describing Cape Town TV's history, because it's been a constant process of building up our viewership numbers and succeeding at achieving a whole lot of things, only to hit up against various either financial or regulatory or technical obstacles that have sort of taken us all the way back down to the bottom of the board of Snakes and Ladders, and then we've sort of got up and brushed ourselves off and carried on, only to find in a few years later something else comes along to challenge the station. So it's really been it has been a difficult journey, and we've faced a lot of challenges, but I think it's also been probably we'll look back on on this time one day as probably the best time at CTV, because I think that kind of scarcity and challenge forces you to innovate and to make do with limited resources, and you really just rely on love and fresh air and passion, and you make do with what you've got. I think when things get easy, when there's money's flowing and you've got everything you need, it's easy to get lazy. I kind of look forward to that day where we can cut ourselves a little bit of slack, maybe earn better money, because I think the other thing is that obviously we've all been working on almost like a semi-voluntary basis. I mean, we do obviously get paid, but it's not market-related salary. So I really take my hat off to everyone who has contributed towards CTV's growth over these years, especially the staff of the station, who have really just been here because they believe in what we do and have made sacrifices to make the channel, to bring it to where it is today. Initially, we were only given 1-year licenses by ICASA, so there was no sort of policy certainty from 1 year to the next. And I remember I think it was 2013, ICASA, we sort of went to go and apply for our next 1-year license, as one does, and ICASA turned around and said, well, actually, sorry, we're not giving you a license, which we were obviously, completely shattered. and the reason they gave for that was apparently now because they had launched the test phase of digital terrestrial television, which we still haven't seen the beginning of. But so basically they refused to renew our license, and it really took a long time. Basically what then happened was we went to the media that time round and kicked up a bit of a fuss, and I challenged the head of policy at ICASA because he'd actually just recently issued a license to Soweto TV, for example. And somehow we managed to sort of force their hands, and they gave us, in fact, after that, all the community TV stations got 7-year licenses. So that was like a big goalpost shift for us, a big growth, phase for the channel. Another time earlier on, I think in 2011, in the old days they used to charge us commercial rates for signal distribution costs, despite the fact that there was actually a provision in the ECA Act for a preferential tariff to be provided for, which ICASA had done nothing about. So after being on air a couple of years, we owed Centec money which we weren't in a position to pay, and they cut us off. And in fact, we went off air. It was the only time that we ever went off air. I think it was for about a week or 10 days. It was the worst week of our lives. And I literally ran around Cape Town and just went to everyone I knew. And I think if it was the one time I prayed to God, that was probably it. And an angel came along and saved the station and paid off our arrears to Centec, and we got back on air. There have been other occasions as well, where another terrible time was when Centec informed us, in fact ICASA informed us that they were moving us from one frequency to another frequency, again because of this so-called migration to DTT. And so we sort of went along with it, thinking, we'll just tell our viewers and everyone will tune their TV sets and it will be fine. And it turned out that it wasn't fine, because we were never informed that people would have to go out and buy very expensive wideband aerials and install them on the roofs of their houses in order to be able to carry on picking up our signal. So at that point, we had 1.4 million viewers at that stage, and literally overnight we had no viewers. And it took us about 6 months to get our numbers back up to 500,000. And really over 2 years, we then had to fight ICASA tooth and nail to move Mnet off channel 32, which we're currently utilizing, so that we could come back from the sort of the upper reaches, the Blikkiesdorp, of the UHF spectrum, and back into where we were before, which was a much easier signal to pick up for our viewers. So there have been at least 3 occasions where the very existence of CTV has been seriously under threat. And we've either had to march on Parliament, or we've had to go to the media, or we've had to threaten legal action, and each time we have prevailed. And I'm proud to say that CTV is here, and CTV is here to stay. We're not going anywhere. The station is going from strength to strength. I feel that there's, you can feel almost like the winds of change moving through the channel, new people joining the channel. We're in a fortunate position where we've got much more financial stability. We're no longer sort of in survival mode, but we actually are able to buy stuff and grow the channel. And so I'm feeling very optimistic for the future.